it's your birthday. Trina, time to love,
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
time to shout,
Hey, hey, hey.
time to let it all hang out, 'cause it's your birthday. And many more.
Happy birthday, Cody. We'd like to show some cheer. Happy birthday, Cody, on this day of the year. It's your birthday, Cody. Shout a great hooray. It's your birthday, Cody. You're alive today. Hey!
Happy birthday, Barack Obama. Happy birthday to you. We are hoping that your wishes will all come true. Happy birthday to you.
I took a look at the sidewalk shining in the dark. The snow had come but barely made a mark. I was up and I thought about going outside. I made love to my wife and went for a ride. Took the car and my time to daydream before night. I love the thought of having space to explore. A run, a walk, a drive to see so much more. It was kind of different this morning at my place. Moving my body to get space. Took the car and my time to daydream before night. Sex was all I needed as I rose early today to get the motion and the lightness in a fresh way. How do you keep moving when the day begins? What draws the energy within? Took the car and my time to daydream before night. Took the car in my time to daydream before night.
Hi, and welcome to the second episode of Music Insiders by FMA, a podcast series featuring FMA musicians, curators, and net labels. Today, we have a curator, artist, and the owner of a net label, Simon Mathewson, joining us from...
I'm in the UK in a town called Bridport in Dorset, so down on the south coast.
On the south coast. How's the weather there, mate?
Cold.
Cold.
Yeah, there's a bit of Arctic wind coming in, I believe.
How have you entered the FMA universe as an artist, as a curator, as somebody who first was only interested in new music and was exploring the site? How did that happen?
Well, I knew someone who had been invited to put their music on the FMA, and he was someone else who lived in Bridport, a guy called Ergo Fizmiz, or certainly he does music under that name. And he invited me to upload some of my stuff because he quite liked what I was doing. And through that, I kind of got my own account and, I was making not a huge amount of music back then, so I wasn't uploading that frequently. But I think because of the interest that I was then getting from listeners on the Free Music Archive, that kind of energized me to sort of make more and more music, and it's just kind of sort of snowballed from there, really.
So let's take it one step back. Before you became an FMA member, you were already making music. How long have you been making music? Do you remember the first time you picked up a guitar or any other instrument? Do you remember why do you feel right now? Why did you start making music? Can you tell us a little bit about your past?
Well, if we go sort of right back, I had piano lessons when I was from about, 10 or 11. maybe got to grade 5, and then it's like, I can't really be bothered with this anymore. But it did teach me a lot. You know, I had a very strict piano teacher, an old lady, who used to
Classic.
Yeah, she used to wrap my knuckles with a ruler.
Oh.
But yeah, apart from that, she was a good teacher. So yeah, I did that. Then I taught myself guitar. I was into heavy metal and punk when I was a teenager. We had a band at school, and we played in the music festival, school music festival, and did like the lunchtime gig and all that sort of thing. And then kind of felt like I grew out of heavy metal, as lots of people do. So you kind of get into it and you think it's the best thing in the world, and then a couple of years later you think, oh my god, I can't believe how immature I was. So then got into punk, and we had a punk band called Earwax. That only lasted a couple of years. Played a few gigs. It was really, really good fun. Really sort of chaotic. Me and a friend actually hitched to one of our gigs. We had our guitars and we were waiting by the side of the road and hitching to a town that was 20 miles away. And then I can't really remember how that sort of disbanded. Everyone just kind of disappeared. And it was around that time that I had a Tascam 4-track
Yes.
cassette recorder, which was great. And I had a sort of crappy old Casio synth and my electric guitar and a few effects pedals and stuff. And it was around that time that sort of rave music and techno and stuff was happening, sort of about 1990, 91. And I'd started going to illegal parties and stuff. And that got me into making kind of electronic music, which has then, it seems like a long time ago now, but yeah, so I've been doing that for about 30 years now. I mean, I do other stuff as well. I still play guitar, still sort of dabble around on the piano and stuff, but it's mainly electronic music that I make.
How did you first start to get into experimenting more with your music? Because there's really a big variety within of what you do as a musician. How did that come about? And do you remember, were you just experimenting or you were trying really to go after a certain sound? We would love to hear more about that.
I suppose I've always been into different sort of genres within electronic music. So, you know, from the early stuff coming out of Germany, Kraftwerk and I can't think of any other names now. Tangerine Dream, other sort of bands or artists that are labelled as krautrock. I don't know if we can sort of use that term or not, but I just did.
Yeah.
So all of that sort of stuff, and then ambient music that was around at the same time, you know, as sort of rave and dance music and techno was coming out. And then, so I was always listening to a lot of different stuff, and through making music, which I initially did, like I said, with the sort of analog equipment, the cassette recorder and the synth, then moving on to doing stuff in software on a laptop. And now I'm sort of back using better analog equipment.
Okay.
And it's kind of making music that the equipment is almost not exactly dictating, but it's sort of finding sounds and finding noises and whatever that the equipment does. So sort of playing around with the equipment to find something and thinking, right, that could become this sort of piece of music. Mm-hmm. So I don't approach music with a preconceived idea. I'll sort of mess around with the equipment that I've got, and if it seems like something that should be a slower tempo, then that's what I do. If it seems like something that's got like a good rhythm, you think, okay, that sounds like a sort of house or techno thing, let's add to that. So that's kind of my approach to making music.
Great. To be honest, that's how the music sounds from my perspective as someone
Right.
who listens to your music, of course. You can feel that approach in the music, and I think that also leads to so much variety within what you do.
Yes.
Speaking of variety, you are involved in more than your own personal project.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit more about the collaborative projects that we can hear on Free Music Archive that
Sure, yeah.
later we can also share in the description of this podcast, and how those came about? I'm particularly curious to learn more about the Free Harmonic Orchestra. I think it's one of the best names on Free Music Archive. And yes, please let us know a little bit more about also why you started to collaborate and how
Yes.
that came about.
Well, that started, and I can't remember his name now, but there was a guy on the Free Music Archive who got in touch with me, said that he thought that maybe we made sort of slightly similar music, and that we should maybe do a collaborative album. So we did that. That was good fun. We were sort of sending files back and forth, and through that we thought that we would try and rope in other artists on the Free Music Archive. So we sort of put a call out. I think at the time, they might have put something on the homepage asking for people who wanted to collaborate, and yeah, we got quite a lot of people. So it ended up maybe, I don't know, 15 or 20
Wow.
people, and people from all sorts of different musical backgrounds. So we had kind of punky stuff and rock stuff and a lot of sort of electronica, and people who did sort of ambient and soundtrack stuff and sort of all sorts. And we tried to set it up so that one person would start a song, another person would to add stuff on top of it. So someone would do like the sort of bare bones of a song, I suppose. Someone would add sort of more melody, maybe bass or whatever to it, and then someone would sort of do the finishing touches.
Yes.
Each one was kind of done differently, really, and we worked with what we were calling stems,
Yes.
which is so that someone, say you did the bare bones of the first track, you would do the drums and the bass and maybe a guitar. All those audio files would be separate, so the next person could then change those if they wanted and then add to it. So it was a sort of complicated process, but it kind of worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
And got an album out of it, which is really, really good. Really loads of sort of really different music on it. But I think sort of shows the sort of like the best of the Free Music Archive and what can happen when interesting sort of creative people kind of get together and what ideas can then come out of that.
Yes.
So yeah, that was the first album, and then I think maybe a couple of years later we did another Free Harmonic Orchestra album, which was with some of the same people, some new people, but we did it in the same way. This one had a bit of a theme. It was kind of about space and the universe and stuff.
Space robots and the future, yeah.
That's the one, yes, thank you. And yeah, once again, a really good compilation of really sort of different music, but it's all kind of tied together with that theme. And yeah, really successful.
Yes.
But I think we haven't done another because it did take quite a lot of organisation, quite a lot of sort of toing and froing and emailing and stuff like that. So maybe we would do another one in the future, but it just hasn't sort of, I think everyone's just been too busy to think about it.
Yes. Well, these two albums are great, and I really recommend it to everybody to check them out, the Free Harmonic Orchestra. Can you tell us a bit more about your curator work? The current playlist we have on the FMA homepage has over 1.5 million listens.
Yeah,
which
amazing.
is absolutely amazing. I know the amount of work and love that you've put into this mix and other mixes. Can you tell me a little bit about your work as a curator, why you do it, and also a little bit more about the record label that you also have?
Sure.
Or I don't know if it's like a record label in the traditional sense, or is it precisely something else that you wish to profile it as? And please let us know a bit more.
Okay, so the curatorial stuff, I think it started back before Tribe of Noise took over the Free Music Archive, and I was sort of doing it with a mind to sort of setting up my own net label and sort of hoping to attract other artists to that net label by highlighting their music that was already on the Free Music Archive, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of didn't really happen. I didn't really attract any other artists, but through doing that and through sort of searching through all the, you know, the huge sort of archive that is the Free Music Archive, I was just finding loads of really interesting stuff. It's sort of like it takes a little bit of work, not too much, but you know, there are certain albums or you know, certain artists that, you know, aren't necessarily a cup of tea, so you have to sort of trawl through and find that stuff, find those little gems, or find the stuff that sort of interests you. And sort of through doing that, I thought, well, this is a great bunch of tracks, let's put that together into a mix.
Yes.
And I kind of did things in sort of genres, so I had, you know, like a dance music mix and a dub reggae mix, and a more sort of ambient one. The one that's on there at the moment is kind of all sorts, but it all sort of reminded me of when I used to go record shopping in London, and I'd go to
hence the crate digging.
Yes. This lots of second-hand record shops and the market down in Portobello Road, and you'd just find all these old records that you'd never seen, never heard of, but they all had really good tracks on them. So I sort of that became that mix that's on the homepage at the moment. As concerning my net label, I've kind of changed that, and it's just become a music library now. So I kind of realized that I'd made so much music, I had like over 1,000 tracks, that I thought, and you know, I get a lot of music usage from you know, the media and people making podcasts and sort of advertising and all sorts of things, that I thought maybe it was time to actually, you know, I'm going to continue putting music on the Free Music Archive, and it is the best place for people to find it, but I also wanted a place where they could find all of my music at the same time. Done via as sort of genre rather than artist, so that they could sort of go through it, and you know, if they want to use my music for their project, they should be able to sort of find what they're looking for sort of fairly easily. But you know, all of the traffic that comes to my website pretty much comes from the Free Music Archive.
Have you had any like interesting stories that you could share with us about somebody hearing your music on FMA and like from a really known brand, or something like interesting that also surprised you as far as licensing goes, music licensing goes?
Yeah, one of the more interesting things was this was during lockdown actually, and there was a guy who made one of these games where you I'm not going to be able to explain it, but it was a really interesting project. He basically created a game, like a computer game, but it wasn't like any other computer game I'd ever seen. Okay. And you were having to find stuff in different strange locations.
Okay. There must be a term for these kind of games, but I also don't know it right now.
I think he did those in the actual outside world before lockdown. So is it called geocache or something?
Maybe, but what comes to mind is the It's the Pokemon games, yeah.
Oh, right,
Where
okay.
all those kids are were walking around
Yes,
with mobile phones.
there's something
stuff
similar
like
to that.
Yeah.
But he'd then done an online thing, and anyway, he used my music, and it worked really well. There were various sort of different locations. So there was like a sort of spooky location, and there was a lot of maybe space-related stuff, and the music that he chose of mine just worked really well.
worked.
So that was just really good to see
Great.
my music in the context that he'd put it.
And he approached you through FMA.
Yes, yeah. Other things, nothing quite as interesting as that, but some sort of high profile advertising company or branding company got in touch and used a sort of rocky, slightly punky track of mine for a skate video to do with the it's called Bones Love Milk,
Okay.
which is to do with the California Milk Marketing Board.
Okay.
Anyway, they paid me quite a lot of money for a track of mine that they found on the Free Music Archive
Yes.
for a video about a famous skater.
All
So
right.
it was like, okay,
All right.
brilliant,
I will later ask you for the link of the video, so we can
Yes,
also
yeah.
post it. I think it's a really interesting story. Simon, thank you so much for your time. And before we say goodbye, can you let us know about what you are currently busy with? Are you refurbishing your studio setup? Are you busy with with new music? What can we expect in the coming months from you?
I have got the studio set up that I'm happy with now. That took a while. Again, I think because of lockdown, that kind of got me into buying actual sort of hardware equipment. I felt like I'd maybe got as far as I could with making music in the music software that I had. So anyway, I've got some Korg stuff, some of the Korg vocals and a Korg monotribe.
Yeah.
And there just seemed to be sort of endless sort of stuff that you can do with that. Just sort of playing around, you find a new sound and you make a new track out of it. So that's all good. I do try and sometimes mix up doing acoustic stuff with the electronics. So just recently I was making some stuff that was more sort of this kind of cosmiche music, and it felt like it didn't quite have, it's like there was an element missing. So just added some bass guitar to the whole track. Right, yeah, great. That sounds good. It's like sometimes something just needs something else.
Yeah. It's a bit like
so
cooking.
quite often, you'll make something with the in the studio, and you think that sounds good, but there's just an element missing, and it just needs a synth wash or a bass guitar or whatever. Anyway, so I've got some more techno-y music coming out soon. I've got some more krautrock. I've got some acoustic stuff. So just kind of guitar and piano, which I sort of have fancied doing for a while, but not really got around to. But sometimes it's nice to just leave all the electronic stuff
Yes.
one side and just see what happens if you pick up a guitar. And I was quite happy with some of those results. I just like making music. So whether I was putting it online or not, or whether I was, people were using it, I'd be doing it anyway. But it's just such a bonus to have people listen to it on the Free Music Archive, and then people use it in, whatever way that they do use it, podcasts or whatever. That's just, fantastic. That means sort of what I'm doing is of interest to other people, not just me mucking about in my bedroom and playing it to a few friends and they politely say, yes, very good, Simon.
Well, we are all definitely looking forward to hearing your music.
Excellent.
Once again, thank you so much for your time.
Cheers. Thank you.
Why do I always get hooked up with these spook details? Monsters, graves, bodies.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. We wish you all the best, dear Joe, Sally, Barbara, Jean, whatever your name is. So happy birthday to you.
We're so glad it's your birthday. Here's a cake.
I made it with slime food.
We're so glad it's your birthday. Here's a cake.
I made it with polio.
So glad it's your birthday. Have some cake.
Ebola's here.
Save me a piece of that birthday cake.
Slime food.
Man, your wishes come true. I'm so glad it's your birthday. Have a cupcake.
Tuberculosis.
It's your birthday, right? We got it right, right? Have a cupcake.
The icing has head lice.
I'm so glad it's your birthday. Bon appetit.
Mad cow disease.
I'm so glad it's your birthday. Have a cupcake.
Oral herpes.
We're so glad it's your birthday. Here's a cake.
Rocky Mountain spot fever.
We're so glad it's your birthday. Here's a cake.
Poison ivy ice cream.
Have a corner piece. It's your special day.
I made it with sauce.
We're so glad it's your birthday. Finish your cake.
Slime food.
May all your wishes come true.
dear sweetheart, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear sweetheart, happy birthday to you. This is your day, so let's celebrate. Happy birthday to you.
Hello there and welcome to yet another episode of Music Insiders, the podcast brought to you by Free Music Archive. My name is Marco and today we are joined by Hessel, the CEO of Free Music Archive and Tribe of Noise, because yes, as you might have noticed, a couple of weeks ago we revamped the Free Music Archive website, and Hessel will talk to us and explain exactly why we did this and what lies ahead for Free Music Archive. So, Hessel, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Marco, thanks for having me.
As I mentioned, we revamped the website a few weeks ago. Can you please explain to the listeners why we did this and what the focus from now on will be for Free Music Archive? And just a little bit about that, please.
Sure. So, as everybody noticed, we acquired Free Music Archive in 2019. The website looked similar to the website that was funded in 2009 by WFMU in the United States. And it needed some work, it needed some overhaul, because there is a lot of traffic on Free Music Archive, specifically focused on self-releasing artists, people who just want to enjoy original music or who need music from Free Music Archive artists in their video or in the school project or even in an advertisement from a big brand. So it needed some revamping. So took us quite a bit of time, but we are super happy with the way it looks like right now.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what kind of artists, music creators from now on we are going to focus even more on?
Absolutely. So I think if you keep track with the news in the music space, you see that the digital service providers, so the DSPs like Apple and Tidal and Spotify, some of them claim to be there for the self-releasing artists, but in general, most of them are focusing on top-tier artists and major record labels. And it is crazy expensive for a self-releasing artist to get some marketing going on these platforms, or to go beyond something as simple as just a profile picture, or just gaining traction with people that actually listen to your music. So the main focus for us from this point onwards on Free Music Archive is self-releasing artists, people who are willing to curate their music, and net labels. And with self-releasing, I also mean that we will give them access to a huge market, because there's so much traffic on Free Music Archive, so that they can market themselves free of charge, start building meaningful relationships. And that can be with just a few people who will leave comments or people who download music, but you will have instant access to those people, and they can instantly reach you via contact forms, comments, clicking on your links to your own website, etc. And the other thing we like to offer you, and that's something because we are Tribe of Noise, is to give you access to non-exclusive monetization models. And that sounds like some marketing term, but it comes down to basic building blocks so that with your music you can start to make money. From sync deals, like music that is being used by video editors or filmmakers or advertisement companies. We have business models on Tribe of Noise that you can use from Free Music Archive to get your music in streaming services like music in hotels and bars and restaurants. We have a tipping option there that's free to use. We even have a blockchain solution that people get paid per second. And any other model that you can think of, just add it to your Free Music Archive account. We are there for the self-releasing artist. We're there to help you market your music and to make sure that you will get some meaningful relationships. I think basically that's why we stand out from the rest.
And right now, how do you wish or how do you see that the platform will evolve during the next years? Let's say, I mean, I could ask you that classic question, how do you see Free Music Archive in 5 years? But I think that's a bit too far away. I think we want to see some progress in the next 1 or 2 years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, basically every single time when we go, we just came back from a music conference in Barcelona, the Future Music Forum. And you talk to your peers, and everybody has that same feeling that some of the services that we all know, that we all use on a daily basis, where you can listen to tens of millions of tracks from the major record labels, that all of them are moving in a slightly different direction than the direction that should be there for self-releasing artists. So if we can offer them that platform where they can market themselves, and then from there we can help them with new business opportunities, and just to mention a few, maybe we should reach out to other companies where money is being made. Everybody's talking about how to make money with TikTok these days, for example. So let's start those conversations and see if we as a collective can actually build a meaningful relationship with some of those bigger, newer platforms out there, in a way that it actually makes sense for the independent artists that are featured on Free Music Archive, that are participating on Free Music Archive. And the other thing, otherwise they might feel left behind, and that's for sure not what we are planning. People who like to play around with all the content on Free Music Archive, like curating specific styles of music or music for specific purposes, or a net label who says like, I really would like to feature some of these albums, you are more than welcome to join in, use all the traffic that we have on Free Music Archive, and combine that with the success stories of the individual artist.
Great. So before you leave, just one last question. Is there any message or anything you would like to tell to any new onboarding artists that are joining the Free Music Archive right now?
Absolutely. So I think what we can tell the independent and self-releasing artists joining Free Music Archive is you will stay in control of your future. So just utilize all the tools that we will throw at you and the ones that you like. And always keep in mind or ask yourself the question, where is the money? So if it means that we are not helping you good enough, then make sure that you keep the doors open to all the other platforms out there, and hopefully combined we can actually help you to build a bright future so that you can keep focusing on your original music creation part.
Great. Thanks a lot, Hassel. And yes, always feel free to reach out to the whole team at FMA. Hi, today I'm joined by somebody who is all the way